Good morning. This morning we're going to go through a pre-flight on a Bell-47 helicopter. This happens to be a Bell-47 G4A, and over the years there's been over 1,000 variants of the Bell-47. So just remember, you're going to have to tailor your Bell-47 pre-flight to your specific Bell-47. And to get started, we're just going to stand back and we're going to take a look at the helicopter, make sure there's nothing obvious that's wrong with it, nothing's damaged, nothing's missing, nothing dripping from it, there's no leaks. And it's sitting about level. And then we're going to come in and we're going to remove any covers that we might have on the helicopter. Up here we have our pitot tube. That's going to have to come off, a little homemade pitot tube made out of a tennis ball. We're going to come back to the helicopter. We're going to remove the tail rotor tie down. Anytime we're moving a helicopter, we want to have that blade tied down. We'll just undo this here, and when we get it done, we're going to take the blade and we're going to move it perpendicular to the helicopter. And we're going to move it so if we're sitting in the cockpit, we can see both tips of the main rotor blade. That ensures we don't do something silly like leave it tied down when we go to start the helicopter. We know beyond a doubt that we have removed the tie down. So before we start our walk around, we're going to check a few things inside the helicopter. We're going to check, make sure that in here we have everything we need. Got my clipboard for my knee. Got a stick to measure, check the fuel. I don't know if you remember your arrow, but we have a airworthiness certificate. We got a registration. We got an operating manual with a current weight and balance. And if you do have a fire extinguisher in your helicopter, which is a great idea, make sure it's secure, make sure it's pinned, make sure it's in the green, which has sufficient pressure, and if there's expiration date, make sure it's current and you don't have an expired extinguisher. And a couple things I want to point out about this pilot operating book. First thing, if we open up and look, it says December 28th, 1965. This book was written almost 50 years ago, and the books written back then were not the same as they're written now. They didn't have the organization and the same sections that they're required to have in their pilot operating handbooks these days. Just looking through this, we have weight limitations, airspeed limitations, rotor limitations, power plant limitations, table of instruments, operating limitations, manifold pressures, center of gravity, CG versus gross weight, type of operation, loading limitations. It goes right to section 2. It says servicing pre-engine start. Well, what you want to notice is what's not here. This book does not contain a pre-flight checklist. So if you don't have one with your Bell-47, get together with your Bell-47 mechanic and using others as a template. You need to come up with your own. I'm sitting in the left seat now. That's where you fly Bell-47 from. And we're going to start right here with our checks inside at the top of the panel. We're going to make sure our avionics are all off. Over here, we used to have a mixture control. Remember I said there's some updates to this helicopter. It no longer has a mixture control. Make sure our carb heat is off. Our hydraulic switch is off. We're going to turn on the battery switch. Make sure our mags are off. We come down here, our oil temp switch. You can see that it is in the engine oil position. Come down and check our fuel quantity. You can see it's a little over half. We will stick that tank later. Circuit breakers are all in. Strobe is already on. We leave the strobe on so we don't accidentally walk away from the helicopter with the master switch on and drain our battery. If I get in close, you can see it. There is a number on the end of that switch. That's because they're also breakers. We're going to turn on the nav lights. We're going to come over here. We're going to turn on the landing light. And we'll quickly go around and make sure those all work. Now, for the sake of shortening the video here, I won't do that. But you check those, make sure they work. Turn this off as quick as you can. It's a high draw item. Don't want to drain down the battery. Come back over here. We're going to turn off position lights. We'll leave the strobe light on and then come over here, shut off the battery. Now we're ready to get out and walk around the helicopter.